And let me share my screen and we'll actually jump into our presentation today. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, make this a little bigger so you can see it easier. But as I introduce this, for those of you that aren't familiar with Annuities Geniuses, this is your first time seeing it. What I like to sum down to what we do is to two different things. There's a lot that we do, but if I had to narrow it down, I would say one, we do product recommendations and quotes. Pretty standard. There's a lot of tools that do that. Nothing crazy about that. And then two, what we do is sales enablement. And that's what we really excel at. And that's the biggest factor that sets us apart in the market. Now, sales enablement, what does that mean? You may be asking yourself. Basically, how can you better sell annuities and how can it make you a better and more efficient advisor or agent when you're doing that? And I'll go through that today actually on how that works. And generally, the flow of these masterclasses is I'm going to go through our tool and go through and basically run through one specific feature in detail. And then I like to leave 5 to 10 minutes at the end to go through an actual case that we can run through. And ideally, if somebody who's on this call has an actual customer case that we can run through and use the tool in real time so you can see what it looks like with an actual real life case like we were doing it for our client. But now, since most of us, a lot of us are beginners on this, this will still be pretty useful if you're not a beginner. So don't feel like you have to take off early. How can this help you sell annuities with maybe you've only sold one or two, or maybe you've never sold an annuity? How can this help you? The biggest piece is going to be the AI, I think, initially. And so let's come in and say, I have a potential lead that let's say that I sold them an IUL. So I'm going to say I have Troy Adams we'll say he's in Nevada, 61. I sold him a life policy, and I think he would be a good annuity opportunity. Sorry, I'm slow at typing. I'll say he mentioned he's worried about the stock market. All right, so I'm gonna go create case. Basically, what that's gonna do is that's gonna enter Troy into the CRM first. So it has Troy, it's gonna mark him. Total investment, I don't know yet. So I'm just gonna put $1 right now. I'm gonna go enter client in. I'll put 10,000 since it looks like it was a minimum. 10,000, we'll just put that in to move forward. And where does that take us? So client has a life policy. What do we do now? I need to start at the very basic. So or I'll say help me create a email to gather information to create a annuity opportunity. And I'm just throwing this out there, so I'm curious what it's going to give me. So let's see what it gives us in this case. All right, I might have to be more specific on this, but we'll see what it's going to give me. So it's basically taking what I know so far and it's thinking and it's going to basically go through and we'll see what the input is. We have some pre-built prompts too, so I don't have to just gather this and type this in generally. We have some pre-built prompts, but let's just go through this one and see what we have. All right, so it has Troy's email right here. So this is great because I'm imagining that you don't really know what to do. And so it's basically giving you a breakdown. Hey, it was connected to you. I'm glad we have already life insurance. I wanted to reach out to grow retirement savings. To figure that out, I have a few quick questions. How much you're looking to set aside? I have a I only 10,000 available, or is it a different amount? What's your primary goal with these funds? Income goal? How old? Do you have retirement sources outside? How long are you comfortable? So pretty good. We'll just say we'll go with that one, and I can put in his email right here. I'll just put in mine. And then if I click open an email, it'll link up my own email or I can send in my Gmail account. So let's just imagine for demo sake, we sent back and he answered back and he says, okay, now we're imagining, cool. So put your kind of imaginary cap on. So we're imagining he sent back and he said, I'm going to say, Troy replied, he has 200,000 in IRA and wants safe income options, and then we'll say he'll start taking income from that in, we'll say, 5 years. All right, so now he replied back with that. So we got income was what he's looking at, $200,000. Income was his goal. Do you have a retirement account? We'll say he just wanted to focus on that. How comfortable are we keeping? So we said 5 years. Who would you like to name beneficiary? Don't need to necessarily worry about that right now. We basically just got that. So we uncovered some assets. I'm gonna send that, and then we'll basically see what the AI does from here. So basically the idea with this, and when it comes to sales enablement and getting a product recommendation, is imagine that Annuities Genius is now your, call it like your sales sidekick slash marketer that's helping you build the case, and you're basically going to build the option out right now. So what it's doing now is it's taking that information and it's looking, okay, we know how much time he's looking to start income based off of this. And then we know he has 200,000 and we know that he wants something safe. So now basically what it's going to do is it's going to go through and it's going to sort through all the different carriers and annuities that you would have access to. And it's going to make a product recommendation. But then more than that, it's going to build how and why this would be a good fit for Troy in our example. And so again, it's like bringing your sales manager or your sidekick with you to help build the case, but now it's all you and you're just basically leveraging the technology. So here's the three products it basically gave us. We got a primary, 22,000, and it goes through the breakdown with here. Let's just say we want to narrow this down to one. And so we're going to go with the primary one. It's A-rated, core bridge, or let's say in this case, we liked F and G. So I'm going to say I'm going to remove this B+, I'm going to remove this Global Atlantic, I'm going to remove this first one. We're just going to stick with, I'm going to set that as a primary, confirm selection. And then it's going to basically put this into a client-facing report is what it's going to give me. And so you can see this is pretty basic, and we're waiting for this to generate. As I'm pulling this up, are there any questions so far that anybody has as we're waiting for this kind of client presentation to pop up from our initial request? And so just a quick review, we got a fact-finding questionnaire from our email that we sent out to him from the system. We got his reply back. We narrowed it down, and now we're building kind of a client-facing breakdown, and we're getting an illustration with that one, I think it was an F&G product. And we'll wait and see what it spits out. And so now putting myself in your shoes, you can basically think of, as you're getting started, like who's someone that you potentially work with, whether it's you sold another policy, if you sell another life product or insurance product or something else, where you could basically just ask, and you have some type of initial relationship where you could spark some interest to basically have a conversation on, hey, are you looking at, what do those discovery questions look like? Are you looking at the retirement income options? Do you want to review or basically compare what you're currently doing? And you can just brainstorm through that. So it created this. Here's a premium that it's talking about. Income starts, a breakdown. This gives you all the information points. A big part of this is we want to make sure that you're feeling confident that when you present this, that you're not just presenting a product, but you're confidently presenting something that's going to make him better off and is actually going to be a big asset to him in retirement. And so we're giving you all that sales ammunition, so to speak, with the necessary information that you need to feel comfortable. So when you're presenting this, you're confident that you're actually helping him in his situation, and you're confident in how you explain it, because obviously we know when it comes to sales, confidence is extremely important. And so that's a big factor in how this kind of plays out. So we have the income analysis. So this is great. This basically gives him an overview. It focuses on guaranteed income, since that was one of his big concerns, was safety. How it works. So it basically gives you a kind of a breakdown of how it works, how the income phase opens up, or how the income phase works, I should say. What his income looks like from that money that he invested, projections that you can see visually, and then it has a product, key protections and features, and it gives me an overall summary. So that's great. Now let's say that, again, I'm a beginner. I'm going to say, help me prepare for the solution presentations. We want like actual help. All right, so let's see what this gives us. And the cool thing about this is, again, going back to when I started, where I talk about where our product excels is on the sales enablement side. We want to help give you like a really good sales foundation. And so a lot of that is basically creating like, how are you going to present that? What does that process look like? Because again, going back to just sales in general, you want to have a good, strong sales process. And so this is basically helping you enable that or know how to do it or give you a baseline on how to start. And then obviously you and your personality and your relationship and everything that can make tweaks. But this is great because it gives you a structure. So this actually is going to create almost like a presentation. So it's going to go through the narrative. It's going to go through the numbers to know. So basically what it looks like as far as the details of this. And then it actually has a whole flow. So presentation, your validation, walking through the numbers, the care double explaining that, it looks like a writer, liquidity information, the carrier, the close, objection handling. This is key. This is killer. This is why I actually really like this tool. Typical questions that people have or objections that people have a lot that you have to get in front of beforehand. And then a lot of it is additional questions as far as just more clarification that gives you checking all the suitability question boxes, as well as having a good understanding of that. And I think I don't know, we spent 9 minutes on this and we basically we took I don't know how to sell annuities to how do I get a fact finder questionnaire emailed out to getting him a response to building out a product recommendation to building out a whole presentation flow right here with questions, Q&A, illustrations, the whole thing. The power of the AI and GrantAI with Annuities Genius is awesome because this is just one small thing that it can do. But I hope this kind of demonstrates the value and how you can start implementing it into your process so that you basically leverage the technology for your actual sales process. And it helps fills in the gaps between just maybe lack of experience or just lack of general process. In addition to that, if you can, I can send this to Troy. If I come over here, these are all our pre-built prompts. So if you've worked with AI at all before, it's all based off of what you tell it to do. And the limitations are usually based off of what you're limited on asking it. And so a lot of the times, if you don't have a lot of experience or you just don't know what to ask or what it can and can't do, we built some pre-built prompts that basically give you ideas of what you could run through on different scenarios, whether it's product information, again, going back to objection handling, communication, advanced strategies, all of that. It just gives you an idea. And so this is great, again, for beginner to someone who's sold a lot of annuities that just wants to polish up their process and automate a lot of it to make it quicker. You can see the value behind that. Before we transition over to our second part of our masterclass, are there any questions that anybody has thus far? All right, you guys are an easy group so far. I don't see any questions popped in. Again, if you can ask you can ask questions in the chat or the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. All right, so if there's no questions, let's now do an actual case. We have about just over 10 minutes or so. Let's go through an actual case that someone has on the call today. And if no one gives me one, that's fine. I can put one in. But if someone wants to throw in their case details, so at a minimum, I just need to know a name. I need to know age. And then it's helpful to know, obviously, the state. And then if they're like what the scenario is, if they the amount of money they're looking for income, for accumulation, more details, the better. As far as like the cadence, to answer your question, Tracy, it's up to you. So we have a lot of people that I've seen do 1, 2, or 3 touch closes. A lot of it's going to be based off of what you're comfortable with and how you're selling them. If it's a cold lead, going in one appointment is quite a bit, and you're probably going to run into a couple hurdles. And so I would say in a lot of cases, it's a 2 to 3 touch close, but that'll vary based off of how the lead comes in, your prior relationship with them, if I work with them, or if it's just cold. It's going to be somewhere between typically 2 to 3 touch. All right, anyone want to throw a case in the chat? If not, no big deal. I'll throw a random one in and we can actually solve it together. It's like we got another clue. Okay, all right. So we have 6-year-old TSP 150 looking for rollover maximized income for the next 7 years. All right, just for clarification, I saw that looks like Carlos. Is that income for just a 7-year period of time or income to start in 7 years? All right, so I'm going to say, I'm just going to make up a name, Bob. Income to start. Okay, perfect. All right, we'll call this one Bob. We'll say Bob Smith, super original. 62. Do you have a state that would help? I'll wait for the state. Say 150 in old TSP account and is looking for income in 7 years. All right, I'm gonna go create this one. Thank you for your help on that one. All right, let's put it to work. So just verifies everything. We got Bob, Virginia, 62, 150 TSP account. For those of you that don't know, that's just the type of qualified account. And we'll say he's single in this case. I'm gonna go create client. So it takes me back to the initial prompt page. If you don't know how to use this, again, I can just type it in right here. I have pre-built prompts, so fact-finding, annuity strategy, product selection. We already have kind of a general idea, so I'm going to say product selection since we know he needs income in 7 years, and we'll basically let it start going. So rolling over, so when it comes to specifically rolling over, what's eligible to roll over, generally you can, if from one retirement account to another retirement account, there may not be any limitation. Again, it could be different with different types of accounts, but generally there's not, as long as you're not rolling it from a qualified to a non-qualified, you're not going to really run into a tax event. And then how long do they wait before they start from an annuity? So that's, to answer your question, Tony, it varies. That's up to them. So there's immediate annuities. So basically I could buy an annuity today, fund it today, and take money out immediately. Or I could choose how long I want to defer that payment. That's all up to the client. So like a SPIA, single premium immediate annuity. All right. Can you save all the data points that it comes up with? Yep. It'll save everything. You can keep track of anything that you looked at. And then obviously for like compliance and everything like that, it tracks everything as well. And that it's always in there. All right. So what we have so far for our guy, Bob, we have, just move one of my boxes so I can read this better. All right, so we got, it looks like 4 options. Here's the 4 initial candidates. You can compare these ones side by side. So we got all A minus and above as far as ratings go. Here's the differentiators, embedded rider, highest income, 12-year roll-up. And so I can compare these. Let's just say that we got an increasing option as well, looks like. Let's just keep it easy and say that we like this primary one. And I'm going to remove everything else. So I'm going to go confirm selection in this case, and we'll let it start building everything out. If it looks like there's a question, if some companies contribute to the 401, I'm guessing a 401k, can you use a company contribution as well as that? Not transferable. So you don't want to roll over a 401k that it's still active. So if I'm with the company right now and I have a 401k and they're making contributions, you're not gonna, I don't even know if you actually can, to be honest. I'd have to double check. But yeah, you don't want to roll that over. Once you leave that company or you retire and it's an old 401k, then yeah, you are going to roll over the entire amount, all your contributions as well as the company contributions. But that's a good question. All right, so we're waiting for this to basically give me a full breakdown. We got the North American product, it looks like. It's going to give me a side-by-side of what their income looks like because we are doing a 7-year deferral. What the guaranteed, so hypothetical account value, guaranteed account value, and then annual income. Looks like we have 19,000. Even in guaranteed zero, income is going to continue for life. So we have that. It looks like it has a nursing home multiplier with this one. And you can ask questions along that if you're wondering, what does that mean? And then we also have the allocation recommendation as far as what you're allocating it to on the sub funds. And so we have basically the breakdown right now. Still generating, so I'll wait for this to finalize. So why this product? So this is because it's going to be like, okay, Bob, why is this product a good fit for you? And we have, looks like there's 6 bullet points. And then here's the full analysis. So it's going to give me a breakdown, the strategy. And so I can be like, all right, Bob. So in this case, we know that you need income in 7 years. You have that $200,000 in the TSP account. Here's what we like about this. And you can go through these. You can go through the overview. Here's the strategy. And so you can be like, hey, we want basically, we're going to give you some guaranteed income. Even if the market tanks because of XYZ, you still have that protection. You also have some upside potential as well with the index link interest. So you get the best of both worlds with some guaranteed. And then here's what it looks like. Here's all the different data points. You still have access where you can access up to 10% of your funds. So if something pops up, it's not like it's completely liquid. Here's how your benefits grow over time. Here's the account value projections based off of what you're looking at, hypothetical and guaranteed. And then here's some product protection features. So a nice little nursing home doubler, death benefit. And so you kind of get the point, why it fits into their scenario. And so again, this makes it super easy to see how you present to it. And it gives you a whole breakdown that you can go through. And then let's say that I know Bob's based off of my conversation. Oh, I heard annuities are really expensive. There's a lot of fees. That's one that comes up quite a bit. And I always bring these up in these calls. So I can say, I'll just go to one of the pre-built prompts. So I'm going to say objection handling, fees are too high. I'll send that. And now we'll let Mr. AI help us overcome the fees are too high objection. And it will give us a whole analysis on that. And that can be done with any objection or any question in general. If you're like, what's a nursing home income doubler? I'm not sure familiar with that. I can just add that and ask for clarification in that. And so again, this is like your sales manager that's just sitting right by you, helping you build this case. So you're what I've coined the term, your marketer in your pocket, where it's like you have your in-house marketer. Instead of having to send them the case, they build it out. You build out yourself, but you leverage the technology to do it. All right, so we'll let this finalize because I don't want to take you guys over time, but looks like it's got a couple more minutes left. But the nice thing I like about this, especially as you're prepping for cases, and when it comes to this, is actually going through an objection handling, is it's very comprehensive. And so it gives you a ton of information. Now, after you go through that, you as the agent, it's up to you on how much of that information you utilize. You may just talk about, hey, we're going to get you guaranteed income. It's, in this case, $19,000 a year, guaranteed, $1,650 a month. It gives you market protection. It checks off all those boxes. If something crazy happens up, although it's in the annuity, you still have access to 10% of it for an emergency on top of everything else. That may be all you need to get with them because you already solved their initial problems. And then as other objections pop up, here's this one. It gives me a breakdown of, in this case, we were talking about, oh, I've heard annuities are really expensive. Objection, where you can see, actually, here's what it looks like. So here's the fees, the actual cost. It looks like it's still thinking and breaking it down. What does that look like as far as dollar amount, percentage amount? Here's a comparison. Because you're going to do something with that money. How does that compare with other investment vehicles? And you can see it looks like with an advisor, mutual fund, actively managed account, standalone. All right, still thinking. All right. And yeah, you basically have the whole breakdown right there. So again, how I got there was objection handling, fees are too high. You can see if I go back up to the top, I have the reframing right here with the objections that pop up built into the actual presentation too. So you got objections in two spots, which is nice because I think that's where people are always worried, especially when they're new, is what if they say this? What am I going to do? And it gives you a good synopsis of that. So I want to be respectful to everyone's time. We're coming up on time for today's masterclass. So Tony, this is recorded. You can actually find it. It usually takes a day or two for us to put it on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and go to Annuities Genius and you'll see this pop up and you can see that recording on here. But as we wrap up, or before we wrap up, I should say, any other questions that anybody else has on anything we covered, anything Annuities Genius? We do these masterclasses every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, same time every day, every week. Cost of the service, it's free. No, I'm just kidding. I wish. Unfortunately, we got to pay the bills here. So we have 3 different plans. If you go to our website and go to pricing, we have a starter plan, which is $99 a month. We have a prime plan, which is $179 a month, and our genius plan is $249 a month. It's month to month. There's no contract. You can see the different features within each plan. If you want to sign up or have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, or you can call our office and ask for me, or look on our website. Happy to help get you guys signed up. Thank you. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's going to replace, I don't know. There's still the human touch. People have been saying stuff's going to get replaced for a long time. I think we still got a few years at least. Better sell a lot of annuities while the picking's good. All right. I appreciate everybody hopping on. Have a great rest of the day.